दोस्तों, अगर आप बाज़ार में अपना पैसा इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं तो अभी जुड़े एंजल ब्रोकिंग के साथ में, क्योंकि यहाँ आपको मिलती है एक अच्छी एडवाइस और भरोसेमंद सर्विस, और यहाँ अकाउंट ओपन करना भी है बिल्कुल फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट। तो आज ही जुड़े एंजल ब्रोकिंग के साथ में। अकाउंट ओपनिंग लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन में है। आज ही अपना अकाउंट ओपन कराएं।
Will it not be possible for any of your clients who can set up its own analytics team and take their job its own?
Yeah, let me take that question.
Yeah.
It is possible. I mean, that way, nothing is impossible that no, you cannot do it.
Yeah.
There are many challenges, though. I mean, this is a very dynamic space. And what that means is that the underlying technologies, if not the algorithms, they change fairly rapidly. And even algorithms that have been around for long, with the availability of new technology, people find ways by which you can apply those statistical and mathematical models, right, to solving even existing problems in a better fashion or solving new problems. Given the dynamic nature, it is hard to build a team, retain the team, and then continuously keep upskilling them so that now they are operating at the cutting edge. One other thing that clients look for is also the cross-pollination, right? That comes from bringing in capability, expertise that has been gathered by a service provider like us, for example, into new situations. Because otherwise you are stuck with your current ways of problem solving. So the cross-pollination, as well as the ability to build a talent base that is operating at the cutting edge, I think these are two very important factors, especially given that this is a very knowledge-oriented play. Keeping your people motivated and involved in the nature of the work that you're doing, that is a very important aspect, right, of how you're able to address these problems. I think these two, in general, are fairly important modes in some sense, right, that are available to companies that are operating in this space. The other point is that this whole area is burgeoning, meaning that there's so much of demand that it is just not possible for any company to do everything that they would want to do on their own. So even very large companies that we work with who have internal data analytics ecosystem, we find them working with several, not just one vendor partners, because the whole quantum of work that can be done in this area is so large that everybody is in it together. So we are feeling fairly optimistic about how the growth prospects, right, will unfold. In the
so, Mr. Sethuraman, for that matter, you have to work very hard to retain your key persons as attrition rate is very high. How do you manage?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the one very important part of the value proposition that we offer our employees is that they can work on very interesting, very challenging, complex problems, and that there is a lot of variety. And in going after that variety of problems, they also get to learn and equip themselves with the latest that is happening, right? Whether it is math or business or technology skills, right, that they are picking up. I think that's a very important component. Compensation and benefits is, of course, there. And data analytics in general is at a premium in comparison to what you see in the IT services space. But notwithstanding that, I think the more important employee value proposition is the culture, is the ability to collaborate and learn new things, to be able to operate at the cutting edge, right, in terms of the complex problems that you solve for some of the world's leading companies, right? These are the biggest attractions, right, that we see. Our employees also participate pretty much in the design of a lot of our internal processes and institutions, whether it is related to learning and development, whether it's our office environment. So these are all elements, right, that contribute into retaining our employees.
Very interesting. So you hire only engineers or you hire for humanities people also?
We do. I mean, actually, there are three broad skills. Technology skills are super important, so we go to the engineering colleges for that. Math and modeling skills, the statistics skills are important, so we go to science and math colleges for that. And then finally, we also go to business colleges, right? Postgraduate, masters in business administration, PGDM in business, so that we are able to bring in the domain understanding, whether it's a horizontal functional domain or whether it is industry domain. So this combination of business, math, and technology, these are the three things. And of late, we have been increasing the quantum of people that we are able to bring in from the non-engineering streams as well, so that you're able to bring all of those skills to bear, right, on the problems that we're solving.
That's last one is very interesting. Mr. Sethuraman, which area do you see will be very promising in 2022? Any sector or any guidance would you like to give?
Yeah, I mean, for us in particular, we would be focusing a lot on the BFSI and retail and CPG spaces. If you see our prospectus, you'll realize that these are very high growth areas. We are a little underpenetrated because we have focused more on the digital native and the technology space. But a lot of the things that we have picked up in terms of expertise and capability are relevant here. So we intend to actually double down on the BFSI and retail CPG space. That's from an industry perspective. Supply chain is becoming super important. And I mentioned people analytics as well. These two things are picking up a lot more steam. More of our work used to be in the marketing and customer analytics piece, but we see a big uptick in supply chain and people-related analytics. So that's from a horizontal perspective. From a type of work perspective, predictive prescriptive analytics, especially using some of the newer age, AI, NLP, graph database, for example, right? These are some areas that we are focusing on. And underlying all of this, the whole data engineering aspect. Now, how do you create the data layers that can assimilate data from disparate data ecosystem, pull it together so that you can do the analytics? That's a very important area. So data engineering, along with the attendant aspects of governance, integrity, lineage, these things will become super important. So we see these as areas of growth.
Mr. Venkatesan, any guidance for revenue and margins?
See, we will not be able to give out a specific guidance on revenue at this point in time. But right through our IPO roadshows as well, and right through our interactions with various stakeholders, the one thing that we've been maintaining is even if you look at our prospectus, while the industry is expected to grow at an 18 to 20% rate over the next few years, we expect that at least year on year we will be able to deliver better growth than the industry growth rate. That is something that we are fairly confident about. On the margin side, again, FY21 was an exceptional year for us from a margin standpoint. And there were some one-time benefits also owing to lower marketing and travel spend. But historically, if you look at our pre-pandemic margin levels, we've been closer to the 25 to 28% gross margin, EBITDA margin levels. We expect that those are fairly comfortable levels that we can operate in. Anything that we generate in excess of those levels, we will ideally want to reinvest that back into the business to scale the business and grow the business. So that's the way we are actually approaching the business at this point in time.
Okay. Mr. Sethuraman, the last question. You believe in business plus maths plus analytics and technology. And you said you are also looking at people from humanities segment. So this is very important and interesting question for you. Has any political party approached you for a poll strategy?
Not yet, actually. we haven't looked in that direction yet. But one thing I do need to say is that I think there is a lot of excitement and interest even amongst, politicians might not be the right word, but just in terms of the people who are at the helm of affairs, right? From a governance perspective, I think they are starting to increasingly use data analytics, right? Whether it is about important core sectors like healthcare or education or agriculture, or whether you talk about just the business of providing citizen services, right, and ensuring that citizens feel safe and protected within a country. I think there is an increasing usage of data analytics. I think a lot of politicians are fairly savvy about these things, and they tend to use service providers and take help. So I think this will be an area which will be of interest in the coming quarters. I'm not particularly talking about Latentview at this time, but just in terms of using data analytics, right, to further governance goals and societal goals, right? I think that'll be a very important space to watch. So we will be keen to look into that as well, right, as opportunities emerge.
Yes. Police strategy is also a very big business. You should look at it. And it's definitely is very promising as in India. Thank you so much, both Rajans, and best of luck for 2022. And I hope we'll talk in next quarter when you come out with the results. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.